All right, with the Ace World Demos of the Week feature, coming to an end, it's time to find something else to fill the space in my time. When I was doing the members part of the channel, I thought it was kind of fun to do topics from the board. So I'm actually going to start doing that a little bit more online because it's nice to bring a wider community into the discussions that go on the KissFAQ at times, and some of the questions that are posed there and debated. And I think in a lot of cases they're universals. So whatever you think of the message board is separate to what you may think of these topics. So again, your participation is important. So chime in the comments with your thoughts, with your reactions to my thoughts, as the case may be, and whatever you've got to say about the topic at hand. So this topic of the moment was posted just the other day on the board, and it was, what is the most hated Kiss song on the planet? I always have a little reaction to the word hated, and once I'm done rolling my eyes at the phrase hated, because too many people overuse hater to describe anyone who doesn't like something, like it's some sin to be in disagreement with someone else's opinion, I go back to the word hate. It's awfully strong. It's very melodramatic. It's extravagant. And I don't think it's a word that I use very often for things that I don't like. And there's the difference. I don't like things. It's a matter of personal taste. Some things don't agree with me, such as broccoli. I certainly don't hate it. So hate is really something that I reserve for the most egregious of negatives in my reaction to them. And in Kiss songs, it's very hard for me to say that I hate very many songs. There are a few I don't like. There are some that I really don't care for. But there are very few that would have me having a physical reaction to, hearing them. If they come on a playlist, again, I may roll my eyes a little bit, but for the most part, I'm not going to be bothered to reach over and press skip on whatever device I'm listening to, if I even have that level of control. So before we go into what the users on the KissFAQ and what I think, let's just ask ChatGPT. We hear how AI is going to make the world a better place. We hear how AI is brilliant. We see all the memes that are generated by AI that steal art and leverage intellectual property and burn water and natural resources, and why we can't build computers anymore because they've eaten all the memory. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say on this topic. So I simply asked ChatGPT, what are the most hated songs by the band Kiss? And its response starts off with its usual AI form, way too much. Kiss has a deep catalog, but a handful of songs come up again and again when fans talk about the band's low point. The pattern isn't random. Most of these tracks come from stylistic detours, disco, pop, hair metal trends, or late-era albums that felt disconnected from the band's core identity. Well, that's a whole different topic than hate. That's a whole bunch of different things that are well worthy of podcast episodes. So, get some fresh topics generated from this little experiment. All right, so here are the usual suspects and why they catch heat. Number one, I'm actually shocked. The Disco Misfire, I Was Made for Loving You, is ChatGPT's number one pick for most hated Kiss songs. I utterly disagree. I know it's divisive. I know there are people who felt that it was a transgression to cross that disco line at a time when disco was really oversaturating many markets in the US, the UK, I guess, to a certain extent, and maybe Europe also. But I don't think it's a song that's hated. It's got 1 billion listens. That's an awful lot of anti-hate. Why are people listening to it if they hate it? It must be gluttons for punishment to get over 1 billion streams and to be ChatGPT's number one pick. Well, it says why fans hate it. The heavy disco influence, simplified groove strays from hard rock roots. No, it combines disco with hard rock roots in my mind. And again, it was one of their biggest global hits, and it was a staple live. I know the band did steer away from it for a while, but when it came back, it was fully embraced. So it's not hated, and I don't think even what ChatGPT calls it as polarizing is necessarily true either, because again, it was I think it's got enough of commercial aplomb, and it's got a longevity associated with it. Now, again, I wasn't there in 1979. I can't give a reaction to hearing that for the first time as someone who had perhaps been a fan from 1974 or 1976 or even 1978 to that point and the changes that the band underwent. But regardless, the Beatles underwent changes. Led Zeppelin underwent changes. The Who underwent changes. The Rolling Stones underwent changes and experimented. So I don't think experimentation and stepping outside of some parameters imposed by others is necessarily justifiable as an example. All right, number 2 from ChatGPT, and this one is hilarious. I'm not going to share my screen to show the output, but it says the infamous low point. Read my body. 1987 from Crazy Nights. Are you kidding me? You've got the whole internet accessible. You've eaten my website. You've ingested every source of data, some legitimately, much illegitimate. And you then have the audacity to put a picture of Vince Neil, Bret Michaels, CeCe DeVille, actually they're AI pictures based on all of those guys, next to that. Read My Body, number 1, is from Hot in the Shade. Is it a song that I don't like? Absolutely. I don't care for it. Is it cheesy? Yeah. When Hot in the Shade, when I listen to it, do I skip it? Absolutely not, actually. I'm not a fan of it, don't get me wrong, but again, it goes back to the laziness factor. I am not bothering to reach over and press skip to get past it, because for what it is, it's really kind of couched in the time that Paul was, mimicking other bands, and Pour Some Sugar on Me is usually the primary example that's used to counterbalance that, even though both albums came out in 1987. So I don't know if Paul had time to write that before he heard Hysteria, and if he was coming from a separate place. Well, Kiss had already done that sort of thing with All Hell's Breaking Loose, so it wasn't that much different than anything that had been done previously. So Walk This Way obviously had already had a little bit of rap and hard rock that Kiss could associate with done. So would I put that in the hate catalog? No, but I can absolutely see why some fans would, and ChatGPT actually notes it quite well, the forced sexual innuendo and awkward lyrics and dated production. Well, I don't agree with dated production. Hot in the Shade isn't a great sounding record, but it sounds no worse now than it did then. And people wonder why it wasn't remastered. It wasn't worth the money. I don't think the band even distanced itself, because they did kind of similar the following year, or the following album, pardon me, when they brought in a rapper who didn't make the cut. But there we go. Yeah, but it does get rejected. Hate? No. Number 3, the pop experiment era. And the pictures used to illustrate this ChatGPT brainstorm is The Elder. I completely disagree. I know there are people who don't like The Elder. I think the band, it can be counted among them, especially Paul, but I don't think it's hated, and I certainly wouldn't have that strong a reaction. Boomerang, Cadillac Dreams, disagree on the latter. Boomerang, I don't think is a very good song, but it's no worse than Burn Bitch Burn, which is just mediocrity that made an album for quota purposes. So, do I hate it? No. But, again, we haven't gotten to my hate yet, if I can even get that far. Carnival of Souls comes into the picture with number 5, the late era letdowns, and why fans dislike them is grunge influence felt forced and dated. Yeah, forced and dated and too late to the party, but at least they were trying something new. Kiss was always something. It was a band that kept fighting, and for me, the 1980s was illustrative of that. Paul kept on trying to push the band to stay relevant, and Gene was not a full partner for a lot of those albums, but Carnival of Souls, they both came in with some pretty heavy, pretty dirgy stuff. So I think that while the production wasn't very good, I wouldn't hate any of the songs, even if hate is what I am. So there we go. Some fans appreciate the experimentation, but many see it as chasing trends. Yeah, but again, hate is a very strong word, which almost suggests a physical reaction. Novelty and throwaway tracks, number 6 from ChatGPT. A few songs get knocked simply for being gimmicky or forgettable. Let's put the X in sex. I don't like that song. You Make Me Rock Hard. I don't like that song now either, but I played the hell out of those songs when that album came out and I bought the LP in Singapore. Do I hate Eric's take on Beth? No. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. But I do kind of understand the backstory as to why that happened. So hate doesn't enter into the equation, even with those. Did I like a young girl singing Let's Put the X in Sex at the convention? Absolutely not. But I'd reached adulthood by that point. So whatever. Hate doesn't figure into that. Bottom line from ChatGPT is Kiss isn't hated for one bad song. They're criticized for periods where they drifted away from their identity. When they lean into swagger, groove, and attitude, they're at their best. When they chase trends, that's when fans push back. I think that there's a certain amount of truth to that statement, though it veers quite away from the original question of what are the most hated songs by the band Kiss. ChatGPT didn't give you a straight answer. It just made up a whole bunch of bullshit and strung it together. Let's move over to the KissFAQ and see what people have to say. First up is Christine 16. Well, maybe that's a song that hasn't dated particularly well, but I will not put that into a song that I hate. I quite enjoyed, actually. Beth with Eric Carr vocals, again, I won't second guess anyone else's answers as to songs that they hate. That's their personal opinion. I don't happen to agree with in that case. I finally found my way. That is a strongly disliked song in my catalog. Like Eric Carr singing Beth, I'm glad that Peter got a song to sing on Psycho Circus. Is that a good song? Absolutely not. It's terrible, frankly. Do I hate it? No, because I'm happy that Peter got a song to sing on Psycho Circus, and that's the only thing that assuages the mediocrity of that garbage and the disservice that was done to utilizing Peter's voice on a reunion album. Samurai Sun, I don't think it's a good song. But I actually, looking back at it now, what was that, 2013, I think, I enjoy that they tried something different. They tried a collaboration, something outside of the box with the Japanese, what was it, Momo Iro Clover Z, something like that. So, again, they tried it. They even tried it live. They tried it with backing tapes live. Then they tried it live, and it went down very badly in that format, but at least they tried. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier, that at least they kept trying things and moving forward. And I've always appreciated that more than the legacy act that we basically had 25 years of, with a couple of exceptions with Sonic Boom and Monster. So no hate there. Read My Body Enters the Picture, Kiss Army Sergeant. Again, I get a strong dislike for that. Boomerang, again, gets a mention on the FAQ. Let's see here. We're going to keep scrolling. Bang Bang You. Yeah, that was a tear-inducing song for me in 1987. Listening to that when I was hoping for a hard rock follow-up to Asylum in that vein, and having a song recycling lyrics that was just so cliched and pathetic. It was a tear-inducer. Do I hate it? No, because I'm still a fan, and I've actually, my opinion on Crazy Nights as a whole has been transformed over the years. Don't Touch My Ascot. Again, commercial tie-in. I'm not going to put a lot of weight on that. Do I hate it? No. Do I like it? No. Did it have its purpose? Absolutely. Again, it had function, it had purpose, and it was, again, about trying something. Did I like what they were trying? No. Did a lot of people like what they were trying? Absolutely. So I guess I don't have a dog in that fight. Okay, My Way. Well, that's a cat-castrating vocal for certain. Do I hate it? No. Is it something that I want to listen to very often? No. But no hate there. Ballads, No, No, No. No, No, No is just a bad song. Boomerang. I mean, they're basically the same thing. We haven't gotten to the one which I think most people are going to kind of agree on. Dislike for Tomorrow and Tonight. Yeah, don't care for that one particularly. Do I hate it? No. And it's certainly better than Love. What was it? Then She Kissed Me. So I finally found my way to you again comes into the picture. Every time I look at you, I disagree with that wholeheartedly, and I still love you. That's a bunch of hate there going into that. But here's a good topic. If I have one Kiss song that I can say that I legitimately hate, it's Nothing Can Keep Me From Puking on You. And the transparency of trying to ape what had been accomplished by Diane Warren and the Armageddon movie soundtrack was just so obvious. It was basically a McDonald's made-to-order, write me a song just like the one you did for Aerosmith, but this is going to be for our Detroit Rock City movie. And it's about guys who are trying to get to a Kiss show. And it's syrupy, it's sappy. It's only got one member of Kiss on it, for God's sakes. It's just atrocious, considering what they were planning on doing for that soundtrack and actually Paul writing some songs. I think I would have preferred Paul write something than farm it out to Diane Warren to try and recreate what had been captured organically with Armageddon.
Besides, Armageddon is a lame group.
Armageddon was just a magical moment for Aerosmith. They weren't exactly at their height at the time that hit. That was happenstance, that was luck. I write about that in one of my Aerosmith books, so check that out. A little bit of a plug there. Let's go through here. Murder in High Heels. Disagree. Hooligan Baby Driver, personal taste. Again, I'm not going to dog on any of those. Out of This World and When Lightning Strikes. I appreciate them trying to write those thematic songs for Tommy and Eric, for that matter, and going to that effort of trying to fit into the characters whose skins they're inhabiting. So, do I like them as much as classic Kiss? No, I don't. But do I skip them when I hear them? Absolutely not. I do actually kind of smile at the, again, effort being made to move things forward. So, Read My Body again crops up. Nothing Can Keep Me From You. I think if we're going to do a poll, what is the most hated Kiss song? I'm going to need some suggestions from you, so put them in the comments, please. What is your most hated Kiss song versus dislike? Remember, dislike is one thing. Hate is something else. Hate is something that makes you cringe. And again, for me, Nothing Can Keep Me From You is that song. So we need some realistic ones in order to do a poll, because we know how much the FAQ loves doing polls. But I think it would be fun to kind of try and determine what is that one song that the majority of respondents really strongly, physically dislike. And I'd be quite happy for it to be that one, because then we're not blaming Paul or Gene or Peter or Ace or any of the members of the bands who co-wrote it. That's a cop-out for me, but there we go. See just a few more here. An album of 70s stinkers. Kissin' Time, Ladies in Waiting. I'm stopping there. I disagree. Again, purpose is always an important context for me, so I'm not going to hate on anything that had purpose, whether it succeeded or failed. All right, that's it. Topic again was, what is the most hated Kiss song on the planet? Put in the comments what you think is the most hated Kiss song. Just one. I think that's all that we need for this discussion. And if you like this video, hit like. And if you like this conversation, hit subscribe. Thanks for listening. Oh, hey, you're still here, watching or listening. Why don't you hit that subscribe button or click the like one? And if you want even more, click on the join button on YouTube. Thanks for your support.